Leviticus chapter 12, Purification after childbirth. Leviticus 11 ended with the call to holiness. Be holy, because I am holy. Now Leviticus 12 addresses one of the most intimate and universal human experiences, the birth of a child. At first reading, this chapter seems puzzling. Why would childbirth, a blessing, a miracle, a fulfillment of God's command to be fruitful and multiply, require purification? Why would a mother be considered ceremonially unclean after giving birth? Is childbirth sinful? Is something wrong with the body God created? But there is something profound happening here. Let's explore. The Lord said to Moses, "Say to the Israelites, a woman who becomes pregnant and gives birth to a son will be ceremonially unclean for 7 days, just as she is unclean during her monthly period. On the 8th day, the boy is to be circumcised. Then the woman must wait 33 days to be purified from her bleeding. She must not touch anything sacred or go to the sanctuary until the days of her purification are over. If she gives birth to a daughter for 2 weeks, the woman will be unclean, as during her period. Then she must wait 66 days to be purified from her bleeding. When the days of her purification for a son or daughter are over, she is to bring to the priest at the entrance to the tent of meeting a year-old lamb for a burnt offering and a young pigeon or a dove for a sin offering. He shall offer them before the Lord to make atonement for her, and then she will be ceremonially clean from her flow of blood. These are the regulations for the woman who gives birth to a boy or a girl. But if she cannot afford a lamb, she is to bring 2 doves or 2 young pigeons, one for a burnt offering and the other for a sin offering. In this way, the priest will make atonement for her, and she will be clean. Mary and Jesus, the gospel connection. This chapter comes alive in the New Testament. In Luke 2, we read that Mary and Joseph brought the infant Jesus to Jerusalem to present him to the Lord, and to offer a sacrifice according to what was said in the law of the Lord, a pair of doves or 2 young pigeons. Mary and Joseph were poor, they couldn't afford a lamb. So they brought the offering of the poor 2 pigeons, and there in the temple they met Simeon and Anna. Simeon took the baby in his arms and declared, "My eyes have seen your salvation." The Lamb of God was presented with the offering of the poor. The one who would become the ultimate sacrifice was dedicated in the temple with the sacrifice of the poor. Leviticus 12 finds its fulfillment in Jesus. The purification laws, the offerings, the waiting, all of it points to the one who would come, born of a woman, born under the law, to redeem those under the law. Lessons and teachings. 1. God cares about every aspect of life, including childbirth. The Lord said to Moses, "Say to the Israelites, a woman who becomes pregnant and gives birth." 12 verse 1-2. Childbirth is intimate, personal, and profoundly human, and God speaks to it. He doesn't leave this area of life unaddressed. The woman's body, her healing, her restoration, all of it matters to God. This is a powerful affirmation. Nothing about your life is too ordinary, too physical, or too personal for God's concern. He cares about your body, your health, your transitions, your seasons of waiting. For us, do you invite God into the ordinary moments of your life? The births, the healing, the waiting. He cares about all of it. 2. Uncleanness is not sin, but it reminds us of our need. For 7 days she will be ceremonially unclean. 12 verse 2. The mother hasn't sinned by giving birth, she is not being punished. The uncleanness is ceremonial, not moral. It has to do with the body's natural processes in a fallen world. But the need for purification reminds us that even the most joyful events are touched by the effects of sin. The pain of childbirth, the blood, the waiting, all echo the reality that we live in a world that is not yet fully redeemed. For us, don't confuse ceremonial uncleanness with moral guilt, but also don't miss the point. We need cleansing, restoration, grace, even in our most joyful moments. 3. The waiting period teaches patience and restoration. She must not touch anything sacred or go to the sanctuary until the days of her purification are over. 12 verse 4. The mother had to wait 40 days for a son, 80 days for a daughter. She couldn't rush back to worship. She had to rest, heal, be restored. There was a rhythm to restoration. This teaches us that healing takes time. That restoration is a process. That even in our eagerness to return to normal life, we must honor the rhythms God has built into creation. For us, are you giving yourself time to heal, to be restored, or do you rush back to activity before you are ready? The waiting period is not punishment, it is grace. 4. The provision for the poor shows God's inclusive grace. If she cannot afford a lamb, she is to bring 2 doves or 2 young pigeons. 12 verse 8. God didn't require a lamb from every woman. Those who couldn't afford it could bring birds. the same grace, the same cleansing, the same restoration, available to all. This is revolutionary in the ancient world. In many religions, only the rich could afford the God's favor. But Yahweh says the poor are as welcome as the wealthy. The same atonement, the same restoration, the same community. Do you carry the same welcome to all? The rich and the poor, the powerful and the powerless? God's grace is not for sale. It is a gift. Extend it to all. 5. Mary's offering connects Leviticus to the gospel. She is to bring a young pigeon or a dove for a sin offering. 12 verse 6, fulfilled in Luke 2 verse 24. When Mary and Joseph brought Jesus to the temple, they brought 2 pigeons, the offering of the poor. The Lamb of God was presented with the sacrifice of the poor. This is breathtaking. The one who would become the ultimate sacrifice was dedicated with the offering of those who could not afford a lamb. Leviticus 12 points forward to this moment, and beyond, to the cross where Jesus would become the Lamb who takes away the sin of the world. For us, every sacrifice in Leviticus whispers, someone must make atonement. Jesus is that someone. Receive his grace, and like Mary, offer your gratitude to the God who provides. Let's continue studying the book of Leviticus. Subscribe, like, comment, and hit notification button for more videos, more Bible study, and more Bible knowledge. We got you.